Diane and I talked earlier in the day about it, that if we let one person in, we've got to let everybody in. I've got many calls today of people who wanted to attend this meeting, but it was supposed to be all on Zoom. And then now Sarah's here.
But she's on the agenda.
It doesn't matter, she's not a council person.
So we can't have anybody on the agenda?
Where's Peterson here tonight? Is Gordon here tonight?
They
Gordon will never come. He's not even in mine. So that's a new discussion. He's a candidate. You're gonna put that in the discussion.
I feel as long as I don't have any comments with other people.
Well, I think if you can be here until you're done.
Exactly. When I'm done, I'm one of the first ones on the agenda.
I mean.
And I won't know any other comments or anything else.
On the agenda, we have to have.
Right. I'm not going to compete with anybody on the agenda.
Twyla, can you hear me?
Oh, was it? The past one.
You can't talk about that.
It's a little bit different. Somebody checked the box. Is anybody out there on your phone? Share just the password and see you like it.
That's the.
Yeah, I have an email. You should want to use that. If you email you something back, that should be a password.
Can everybody hear me okay? Just
Seven o'clock. Call the meeting to order.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone has a chance to look at the minutes. If so, we have a motion to approve.
Approve the minutes. I'll read it.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Travis, second by Stan. We have to have a vote on that? Okay, Travis.
Yes.
Sammy?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Yes.
Lindsay. Jennifer.
Yes.
Motion passed. The next item is approval of payroll and bills. Diane?
I still get the questions.
For the park, can we get an itemized, checkbook balance and statement? We have employees now, we need to keep track of. Just like you get from the bank every month, or I do anyways. how much-
Do you want to see a bank statement or you just want reports like this?
Yeah, itemized on what checks were written. what-
The park board does get that information.
Pardon?
The park board gets that information at
Yeah,
their
but
meeting.
it's not itemized and everything, is it?
It is the park board meeting.
If that's the way it is, then that'll be fine.
While attending the meeting via Zoom. So you guys are aware.
Any questions on the payroll and bills?
Just while I need to be voting then too.
Yes, she does.
Is she able to talk?
Is Twyla able to?
Yeah, Twyla's on here. I'm sorry. She was.
She should get a vote on those minutes.
And I have you muted, Twyla. Are you still on here? Let's see if they can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you not hear me at all?
Can you hear me, Twyla?
I can hear you. I can.
Sorry, I had it turned down because everybody been coming in and out.
Oh, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Well,
Yes.
would you like to vote on the approval of the minutes?
Yes, I approve the minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Order. How about the approval of the payroll and the bills? We haven't made a motion yet, but do you have any questions on it?
No, I do not. Does that include the extra ones that were sent out?
Yes, it would. The circle sanitation bill number was wrong. That 6,000, whatever number you have, it's 11,000. With the previous month's amount in there, and we discovered it. 11,175.88.
The Otter Tail bill was higher too, simply because they didn't send, I don't know that
We
they
have the
didn't.
right amount on that.
Okay. But last month, we missed the main lighting bill for whatever the mail or whatever it was.
We have a motion to approve.
I just want to double check because I seen on the report when it was given to us, bill for 570 or, I feel like we're paying for the website twice.
The annual fee for the website
Yep,
should have been recorded once.
but it's on here as check number 5332 and now it's listed again on the it's listed again on the additional invoices,
Oh, it won't get paid twice. It's
even though it's all already listed on here.
Is it on the bottom piece of it?
It's listed on here.
Yeah, is it on the
And
bottom?
on here.
Is it on the bottom piece of that extra sheet?
Yes,
So it's already paid?
yes.
No, it's not paid, it's just on.
It says extra checks dispersed since last approval.
Then it was already paid. We'll catch it.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we don't pay twice.
Yep,
because it's
no.
being listed twice.
We'll get you. We'll catch it.
What is this, super bugs for sanitary system? Team Lab?
Wastewater bugs for the lagoons, they eat the grease. Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to check.
I had them send an extra pail because of the COVID and everything and shipping. I wanted to make sure I had bugs to keep up. So we ended up getting 2 pails in 1 month.
Okay.
What's the miscellaneous revenue? $6,005.50. And then, is there a reason we're not getting the current month for the budget reports?
Well, the current month wouldn't quite be done yet, like balance and everything, you still want to see.
I would.
So you want, in this case, you got 3 and you want 4.
I think that would be, I'm sure you have revenues and such.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We just have to make sure we've got all of our revenue vouchers done, but we can do that.
Vector control money, 1,536, is that a monthly? We get $3 a month on the water bill?
Yeah.
And you're water bill? That would be about $1,500.
Is it $1,500 a month on your, vector control? Are you talking income or
I
expense?
don't know.
You're talking income.
Says monthly
Income, okay.
1,500.
I didn't read the bill.
Yeah.
What is it?
What's it under?
It's just under miscellaneous.
See, this month, miscellaneous, $6,000.
Yeah.
Is that the tax collections? Part of that came in?
Real estate taxes is listed at the top.
No,
Okay,
we'd have to go look.
Yeah.
I guess all night,
okay.
if you don't mind.
We bypass that and go on. Non-financial report.
What?
Are you going?
You want me to?
The,
6,000 miscellaneous?
yeah, $2,005.
In the general fund.
Thank you, Anita.
No, should be good to go right through.
It's at the top of the screen. I think it's got a countdown on it.
That's strawberry peach.
Do you keep watering it down all day? I do the same thing. I do, I do. I like it water. Okay.
Sorry. Just so I could do messages instead of getting in front of the screen.
It is the park board expense,
Oh,
and there was that 550 for copies or something.
$6 grand fee for the park for their active whatever.
No, the park paid the
Park
city.
pays the city for her doing it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll make a motion.
That should, sorry, that should technically go under the park board agreement though. I mean, it's budgeted $6,000. It shouldn't say state aid after it. That's what I know.
We can leave that.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the
Financial reports and other.
payroll, bill, financial reports and others.
I'll make a motion.
Read
Danny, me a motion.
that. Second,
I'll second.
Cindy? Vote Sandy,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry.
Not a problem.
Trying to regulate this.
Personal appearances, Tara.
Okay, first, I think I gave everybody a copy of what I'm about to address here. I had a mental chocolate, and then I sent them this email, and along with this email are several Northwest Century codes, Surrey ordinances, some charter rules, etc. And then at the very end is my last email that I sent, pretty much what the council had hoped. But I'm going to read what I prepared as opposed to just talking on the wall. Good evening, council members and mayor. I asked to be heard here tonight so that I could express my deep concerns on what is happening to our city. Several issues in the past have torn our city apart, and I'm trying to find a way to help put it back together. I have spoken or had email conversations with each of you about my concerns. Mayor, I spoke to you in person on April 12th at 1 p.m. to ask if you had a plan to stitch this city back together and to see if you were willing to let the past go and work with this council to move forward. I told you up front that I was considering a recall of your position, and I was looking for a reason and hope that I would not have to. I was very discouraged by your response. You told me you would not let the past go and that you would not work with this council as it sits. You were passionate about getting Brent back on council, as you still feel it was illegal on how it was done. I also talked to you about representing the city of Surrey to the Minot Daily News and how it came across that it should have been your opinion only. After a half-hour conversation, I concluded that you had no intent on moving the city forward, that you wanted to adjust the wrongs you felt happened in the past. I also voiced my opinion about the advice you've been getting outside of your council members. How some people only want to stir up the drama and have it continued as a type of entertainment, not help you out as mayor. I was extremely disappointed in the outcome of the conversation and felt that a recall was the only option. I tried once more the next day to see if you had a chance to think about things and change your mind about the direction you want to lead the city. I emailed both you and your wife to make sure you received my thoughts. As of today, I still have received no response from you. On April 13th, I became aware of a letter that was sent to the Bella newspaper. I was and still am utterly disgusted at its contents. I could not believe someone thought it was wise to send such a disparaging letter to ruin someone's life and job. They didn't even have the courage to sign their name to the letter that should say enough about their character. I have watched for almost a year people making this saga personal and watched the attacks on both sides. I've seen people go after their neighbors' jobs, council seats, families, reputation, even their children. It has affected our senior citizens, our school, and even our church. It has polarized our city and caused it to come to a complete stop. It does not matter to me anymore who did what and when, and I think I can speak for most of the citizens on this. This all needs to end, and it must start here with the full council, which includes all you members and the mayor. The busybodies out there that want to spread rumors of infidelity or who is parking where, who works for whom, that give their very incorrect legal advice to the mayor, and that find some sort of sporting in keeping this going must be ignored. That is the only way to quiet such people who do not have the city nor their neighbors' best interest at heart. Enough is enough. I'm here today to ask for a pledge from all of you, that you pledge to leave the past behind and start to work together for the future of our city, to respect each other here during meetings and out there as neighbors. You do not have to agree, but you must respect each other. You set the tone for how people will behave in this audience. As you should never have to put up with the disrespect in the audience, you should also not tolerate disrespect from city council members, including the mayor and representatives. Office workers should not have to tolerate bullying or intimidation from city officials or citizens, nor should they be talking about past employees in a negative way. City workers should not be hassled by our citizens for just doing their jobs. I also feel that this body needs to look at the leadership code and give it some teeth, quote unquote, so it can be enforced without question. That is a must. They must pass an ordinance preventing all city employees from discussing any city business on social media or local media unless it's been approved by the full council. And finally, that when you set a law or an ordinance, enforce it. I believe everyone here wants what's best for our city. You just need to know where to start. I say start here with that pledge to these people. Work as a united team for us. Ignore the negative voices that wish to keep you divided for their own amusement. I understand that tempers may flare, that we are human, but level-headedness is needed to keep us in check and on track. Move along, push ahead to do the city's business in a positive atmosphere. I know it can be done. I know you're all tired of the drama and want to see it end. You have the power, and the people of Surrey will follow your leadership if you choose to lead the city. The last thing I'd like to ask is a pledge from each and every member out loud to the city of Surrey that you are willing and able to do this. Can I get a response from anyone?
I 100% would pledge that, Tara.
Thank you, Jenny.
For your letter.
Thank you.
I'm not part of the elected body, but I
Like, well, you're still part of the process of how our city works.
yeah, man.
Awesome. I've got yours. No, and I know Twyla's out there, I'm sure.
I'm absolutely on board with that, 100%.
Thank you. And Mr. Collins.
I'll work with anybody who's going to work.
I really do appreciate that. Like I said, I know it's been a long haul. I know there's been things on both sides. Let's end it, move forward, and make the city a decent place where people are proud of.
We have one more person who's got to say, speak up.
Mayor?
I would go along with it, although I have to say that I have reliable sources that the city is under state audit right now.
Okay.
So it's going back to things that have happened in the past. And so you can't just
Right.
shut
I
everything
understand
off
that.
last week and go on forward.
I understand that. Things that are happening that are already in progress, we're gonna have to deal with them. There's just, I mean, there was also a rumor there may be a lawsuit out there. If there is, let it come, we'll deal with it then. What I'm saying is that those actual issues that got us to this place, we don't need to keep hashing them out anymore. We don't need to say, you know, what was legal, what wasn't legal. What's done is now done. We just need to move forward, and if it does come up, I'm referring to Frank. If it does come up, if he does file a lawsuit, or if he doesn't, then that's just something that we deal with when we get there. But I just want to know, and I said this to you that Sunday, I just want to know that you want to move the city forward and you want to help it heal.
Well, that's why I couldn't say that I would go along with it on Sunday, because there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes.
Because why?
Public.
I understand, I do. And like I said, but I'm hoping that you can work with council, and that you guys all work together, even those things that are still being hashed out like that audit and stuff. You guys can still do all that together. We don't need to point fingers. We don't need to say, oh, this, we don't need to do any of that. We just need to move forward, deal with what we're dealing with now. If we don't get the city moving forward, it's already a mess. People are sick of it. People are embarrassed of it. People don't want to say they're from Surrey because they read the stuff in the Minite Daily, because they see the stuff on Facebook. And just one more little thing I want to get to here. I cannot beg enough for this council to do something. I worked at Justifications for 11 years. We had a policy, you do not talk about business on social media when you work there. Nobody who gets paid with my tax dollars or the rest of the citizens has any business talking about city business on social media. That's my opinion, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, because it's happened all the way around. So I'm not pointing fingers, I'm not saying you did, I'm just saying it needs to stop, and council needs to implement a policy, a personnel policy. We were, when I was working, we could get fired for it. I want to see you guys do something to stop this, if at all possible. I know people have the right to speak, yes you do. You most certainly do, but this is city business. This is stuff that's in-house. That doesn't need to be out there from anybody, in my opinion. And with that, does anybody have any questions for me or any other things? Then I will scoot on home. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody have it?
Thanks, Tara.
Yeah, thanks, Lyle. Yeah, I did. I'll get it when I get home. Thank you so much.
Okay, second on personal opinions, we have Gordon Dahl and Kevin Peterson, which is Silver Springs. And I believe what they want to talk about is parking RVs behind the cemetery up on the Silver Springs area.
I believe we already visited this once,
Yeah.
January of last year, if I'm not mistaken. It was established that we made a vote on it, correct? That it it's not zoned for it, correct?
It's not zoned for, we simply zone it for if they'd be willing to put fencing up, gravel paths for them, and adequate lighting, so we have for people get back there and see what's
None of that. So, all those things happen. It's not zoned for it, so.
Want to write all that down, Dan, so I get a hold of Gordon?
And he was given a copy.
He is on.
Gordon, can you hear me?
He's on.
Yep.
They're ready for you.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing today?
Wonderful.
Well, that's good. That's good. I hope that this part of the meeting today will be a little more positive and upbeat. As you know, I'm the developer of the Silver Springs Master Plan subdivision, and my interest to meet with you is just to find out who's all who and what you're up to, and what am I looking forward to is the change with the administration and representatives on council. I understand it's a thankless job at times, and it's a volunteer position, and it's not an easy one. So, and I think you guys have got a little bit of an opportunity here to improve upon, and that's coming from a person who's got north of $10 million invested in your city to expand its tax base, bring more community, and we've had a tough go with our past experience, and I am optimistic that it'll get better. And we do have some questions that I'd like to ask in reference to the maintenance of the subdivision, everything that's been handed over to the city, and the way the development agreement works is I pay for it and the city maintains it. I've paid for it, and now we've got the latter part to discuss in detail. We feel that there's a market change and shift, even though with this COVID and its unpredictable, unprecedented situation that it is. We are moving forward with hopefully a few dozen homes this year. We're starting off in tranches of 4 or 5, and we're wanting Silver Springs in the city of Surrey to be recognized as a great destination place, and we need to be able to turn that around. So I got a few items to talk about, but before I do, I just wanted to maybe take a pause and let any one of you respond.
Well, I guess, Gordon, we talked last week. This is Chuck, Mayor.
Hi, Chuck.
And like I said then, I think the Silver Springs has the opportunity to be a garden place by fixing up the parks and that. And I think it would be a great draw for the city of Surrey.
Well, thank you, Chuck. I appreciate that feedback. Is it possible if we could just if everybody could just introduce themselves as to who they are and what their interest is in leading the community, and whether they're on a 1 or a staggered 2-year position as a council person, or is that something that happened already and I missed that part?
Mike? What do you want to know? I guess I don't understand your question, sir.
Yeah, so we've got, who's all, I don't know who's on the board anymore. Unfortunately, I would be there if I could be, but the borders are closed and I'm in Canada right now. So I don't know who the board members are. I know Chuck, that's all.
Mike, he's in Ward 2.
Kenny Hunsack, Ward 2.
Twyla Ganser, Ward 2.
Travis Dalby, Ward 1. I'm the one that met with you last year with Jason, our former mayor.
Oh, right, thank you. Good to hear from you.
Lindsay Coco, Ward 1.
And may I ask what ward Silver Springs would be?
Ward 2, Gordon, I live in Silver Springs.
Yep, Ward 2.
Oh, great. Okay. Would it be possible if I could maybe tomorrow at the leisure and at the availability of my council person to just have a talk with them just about Silver Springs and our plans moving forward and how we can maybe take what's not so good, get it to good right away, and what's good, get it to great as soon as we can. Is that possible?
I would not have an opportunity to talk with you tomorrow, but I probably would have time on Wednesday.
Okay. What would your could I just give you my phone number now?
Sure.
306 241 8833.
I will send you an email and we can get something scheduled for Wednesday.
Oh, that's great to hear. Okay, so if I may, I'd just like to, if I could, I'd just like to discuss a few talking points that would be relevant to the city of Surrey and specifically the subdivision, with what our plans are moving forward and what our concerns are, and maybe what we could do together to move the reputation, of what it should be or could be in a positive light in the marketplace. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So as you know, we've got 205 acres that are annexed under the city of Surrey, and development ready to build approximately 120 homes on lots that are platted and ready to go. And the market went soft, and over that period of time, there's a lot of things that have happened. And what we're seeing is a bounce back in the market. And what we're wanting to do is set the table and be ready for when things unfold as we are predicting. And of course, we're doing this in lieu of COVID, so it's a little bit of a ballsy move, but we're going to try our best to make a go of it. But we're going to need help, and we're going to need lots of help from the city. And in the past, over the last, well, I guess 8 years, I, as a developer, paid for everything in the city. Pretty much benefited from it, from an increased force main, from all kinds of infrastructure to make the infrastructure better for the city of Surrey. It's a long list, and this is one time where I'd like for the city to maybe consider doing some positive promotion to the marketplace about Silver Springs and city close, country quiet, lower taxes, tax abatement. Do what you can to change people's mind about how they think and view Surrey.
One thing, Gordon, we've done, we've hired 3 part-time adults for doing the park work up on Silver Springs. We went around today and pointed out the things that need to be done, and the fellow that we hired to be in charge of the situation seems pretty impressed with the opportunities up there.
Chuck, did we hire 3 people to the park board?
Yeah.
The park district?
Yep.
Maintain that property? Or to the city?
Park. Pardon?
The park board hired them.
Park board.
So they're gonna clean up the landscaping that runs along Pleasant and the other areas over there?
We're in charge of the ball diamonds, the picnic park, the West Park over here, and Silver Springs.
Okay, so are the plans from the park board to clean up that green space that is in the Silver Springs area
We're
that
working
runs
on
along Pleasant Avenue?
working on everything. The green space along Pleasant Avenue would be a city project.
Who maintains those?
The rock wall is the city.
The
Who
wall and the
maintains the landscaping along the rock wall?
AJ.
Is that not green space that is park board?
Technically, it's in the right of way.
And it's right away of the street, so it's city.
Apologize, everybody. I couldn't make out what was being said, but I think maybe, you know, I'm just looking for, you know, a general consensus that the city is on board with doing some, you know, positive Facebook promoting and some, you know, even maybe some radio advertising, some sort of external marketing approaches and strategies that you guys think would be the right thing, the right way to let the market know that Surrey is open for business and it's a great place to call home. I don't have, you know, an actual solid plan in play, but I do know that it should be a joint effort between, you know, us as the master developer and the city. And I would like to I'd like to get a general consensus from the city that you're on board with that type of an approach and strategy. I don't know how else to change people's minds, but you know, we want to convert these lots into homes and homes into families, taxpayers, and you know, to rejuvenate the city. You know, does that sound like something that would be supported by the city?
I don't have a problem with that. I know the park board and the people that are working there are full speed ahead as far as improving whatever we can in the parks.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Speaking of the parks, CB and Bruce Schneider, known as BC6 Parks and Playgrounds. So it's a husband and wife team. The B and the C is Bruce and CB, and the 6 is their 6 girls that they have. So it's a family of 6. They build parks, and that's their livelihood. They built $200,000 and some worth of parks for the city of Surrey in Silver Springs. The city of Surrey agreed to pay for all the foundation work, and if I pay for everything else, I agreed. I have paid for everything else, and the city of Surrey has not. And Bruce and CB have been very patient. They donated their time. They've done community events, rock painting. They did a fundraiser on behalf of the school to the benefit of all of the community of Surrey. And the city of Surrey has stiffed them for $11,000. They sent a letter saying they changed their mind. They're not going to pay them. That is just wrong.
Gordon, I think.
So I really am looking.
I think you need to talk to the park board about that, though. That's not the city's responsibility. That was an agreement made with the park.
Well, again, I'm not really 100% sure who's who in the zoo around there, but I'm trying to find out, and that's why I'm on this call right now. And I know one thing, that when you're dealing with a city council and a mayor, you can't get any higher than that. And if I'm getting, how would you say it, dismissed because it's a park board that is relevant to the city, where we've got all of the councils and the representatives of the people all present in this call. It's not me, it's somebody that has done a lot for, could have been some of your kids.
Gordon, it's the park board that went into an agreement with you to put the parks in, and there's no one at this meeting that represents the park board. So we can't speak on their behalf.
Well, my request is that that whoever the park board speaks to is or has to answer to, I would guess that they should be on this call. Is that not right?
No,
In order of hierarchy?
no, they have their own board.
They're their own entity.
They have their own board.
I mean, if it helps, we could definitely set up a meeting with the park board and yourself and discuss the issue, but I mean, it will always fall back on the park.
Well, something should happen, because it's been a long time. It's been a couple of years, and these people are good Christian people, and they've given so much for the community, and they're getting the runaround, and it really hurts to see it and to hear it. And I apologize for bringing this up, but I did request an organizational chart of the board to be sent to me previous to this meeting, along with an agenda, and none of that happened. So, you know, I can understand everybody's trying to do their best, but I'm really looking for some confidence in this current committee that we're going to be doing the right thing the right way moving forward. And, you know, if there's nobody that's there, you know, this was the main topic of conversation, was this park and these people getting paid. And the fact that nobody's aware of it, and I'm being told, well, that's not us, that's somebody else. This is the reason why I wanted to get on this call today, was to make sure that somebody who's paid their own time, their own mileage, their own gas coming in from Dickinson, doing rock painting and face painting and bake sales and sports support for the school, and all the proceeds going to the school, and they get, you know, they're dealing with that's not my department.
Right.
And
is there like a signed agreement with the park that you could show us? I mean, and then
it's all been sent. It's all been sent. It's been sent by her. It's been forwarded by me, you know, recently. I was on one call where it was pretty much, okay, you pay the 200,000 and we'll pay the 20,000, 10%. And they got one check, I guess, for 7,000 payment, but the other payment didn't come through, and they got a letter stating that they changed their mind. They're not going to pay now. So this is what's going to happen, you guys. Bruce is as good as the guy he is. He's not a slouch either. He has every right to come there and take it away. Then you got a park that's illegal that no kids can play on because it doesn't meet the guidelines. And if that's going to happen, then you guys, park board representatives present on this call or not, are going to have a lot more to deal with, because it's going to be me coming after the city for not doing the right thing and being counterproductive versus passing the buck. These are innocent people that have given. All they've done is give.
I guess, Gordon, we'll have to just get hold of the park people and talk it out. You know when the next park board meeting is?
Gordon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I sure can.
Okay, this is Anita. I spoke to you on the phone a couple times on different things.
Hi, Anita.
Hi. Hey, we did visit as the park board, they did visit and we looked at past, at just, you know, the decision, they were gonna agree to do the 7,000 plus try to get grants equaling up to 13,000 to cover what you're talking about. We didn't realize that this was the main topic of your appearance tonight. Otherwise, we could have just had you join us, and we still would love to have you join us then for our next park board meeting. And that will be the third Monday in May here. So I don't have a calendar in front of me, but we could certainly get you on board on that if you would like. The 18th.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. Now, you know, again, it doesn't sound like the borders will be open, but I think that CB and Bruce should be invited. And I really think that you know, the fact that the city did, or I'm just referring to it as the city, had spoken to them getting grants, that's neither here nor there. They committed to it regardless. And that's really what this is about. And if they're going to try and get out of it, I'm really looking for the people on this in this meeting to support with getting them to do the right thing the right way, or else they're going to come in and they're going to take their foundation away. And then you guys are going to have to pay for it anyway, or somebody is. And then we're going to have all kinds of people that are considering to make their Silver Springs their home are going to see these parks in ruin. And, you know, that's just not good for publicity. And we're better than that, I would hope.
But did the city agree that make that an additional agreement with you? Or was it just based truly on just the park board agreement? Did you guys come in front of the city or in front of the park board? Because
well, everything I've ever done has been with the city. I've never had to deal with any park boards. All I've done for the city of Surrey is write checks.
Okay.
Millions of dollars.
And was
every year.
Was BC6 then with the park board then? Was that just completely through the park board? Because with our park board, what they found is
CB dealt with people in the city and at different levels on certain things with respect to ADA compliance and everything else. So I can't really speak for her. I am calling on this matter to help a person, like I said earlier, who did nothing but give to the community and has been given a real, you know, dismissal and yeah, sorry, we're not paying you.
Well,
it's just the poorest of taste. And we want to make sure they're taking care of you guys.
Yeah, we're
That's all.
together with the park, and we've got another deal on the agenda tonight that might help. But we'll have to let you go now. But if we can line something up with the park board on the 18th, that would be a good time to finish it off.
Yeah, and if I could just have some time on Wednesday with my council member, then I could be a little more, you know, we could just sit and talk about the good things that we can do. But you know, it's kind of hard to march to the beat of a positive drum when you've got a family of 6 who's living hand to mouth, and you got the city of Surrey telling them, sorry, I can't, you know, we changed our mind, we're not going to pay you because we didn't get a grant. And then they try and make the basis for not paying because they didn't get the grant, which is not right.
Right. No, I think we've dropped the ball on this, so.
No, I disagree. We did not drop the ball.
it was up to 13.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I think we need time to look into it, and I think that an answer has been given by the park board, and I don't, as the city council, agree with saying that a mistake has been made.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling, Gordon. We'll get back to you on the 18th.
Okay, thank you.
Next thing on the agenda. Ordinances. Disorderly conduct would be the second reading on the Worthington Schultz document. We have a motion to approve the second reading.
I'll make a motion to.
Motion by Travis. Second.
I'll second.
Second by Lindsay. We have a vote. Travis?
Yep.
Lindsay?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And Jennifer?
Yes.
And Twyla?
Yes.
Okay. That passed. Curb stop, second reading.
I have one discussion on this before we do it again. If I may.
Sure. Sure.
It comes to my attention that this was looked at a while back, by some former council, former auditors. They had looked at this, changing the way it was written to make it so that the city was responsible for the curb stop, and it wasn't on the resident. But they backed off when they seen how we could put it.
Well, the cost of it, it's really not in the budget. So Chris and I talked to, I also had talked to a concerned citizen about this, and they had said that the city would be putting out more money than what we'd be bringing in for this. If, you know, we have 300 of them that are not working or whatever, and it's about $1,400 to replace one, our budget isn't set up for this.
So by agreeing to this second reading, we're taking on a very large expense to the city. Is what I'm getting at.
But by not agreeing to this, this was the other argument we had.
Yeah, I just want both sides being,
Is
I
that
want a discussion.
we can't determine who's gonna put the curb stops in. So they can bring in anybody they want to put that curb stop in, we cannot say a word about it. That was the other argument on the other side to do it.
So then who absorbs the money if the city's responsible for it? Are we gonna tax it back to the homeowners, or is it gonna come out of our budget?
Are we gonna have to reassess everybody, or are we just gonna run the whole? It's just questions, that's all I have.
Well, and I have concerns because how is it that some people have put driveways over their curb stop or built sheds over their curb stop? I mean-
The roads,
I mean,
we put roads over top of some of them.
Really?
Yeah, it's a mess.
I know my neighbors is under his driveway, or at least they think it is.
I mean,
And that's why they didn't want to do this last time, is because they figured if one of those curb stop breaks and the road is over, then the homeowner's responsible for repaving that road. They have to pay to tear it up, fix the curb stop, and repave the road that the owner, not the city. And that is just wrong.
so every mistake that's been made by homeowners and anybody else, the city is gonna have to go wrong. Even by the city, by putting roads on stuff. That's, I'm just asking.
Well, like these ones, the owner should not have to repave it because the city went over and put it over top of their curb stop. A driveway, if there's no ordinance against it or no building code against it, yeah, then it's on us.
They don't all have to be replaced right now.
No, I'm just saying this was the argument both ways. I was on the council when this came up.
You know, if we did 10 a year.
10 a year, that's 14 grand a year.
the reason it came up to begin with is we originally were going to receive prairie dog funding based on first quarter oil sales. And I was thinking that it has to be used for the infrastructure of the city, to improve the infrastructure of the city. And I thought that it would be a great way to spend that revenue. We're not going to get that revenue now because of the oil and gas market. But that's where this discussion kind of popped back up again this year is we're talking about all of them that are missing, buried, lost, and not being able to control that water if we do need to shut the water off. Maybe having to shut off a block or two streets because that's the only place we have where we can control that water. And so I am kind of at fault here for bringing this all back up again. I did not realize.
What they don't deal with that.
the expense that it would bring to the city. I was looking for a great way to spend $40,000.
AJ, do you have something?
My deal with trying to get the curb stops fixed is, let's say that Travis Dalby, that his curb stop doesn't work. He says, to heck with the city, I'm tired of paying the water bill. He quits paying his water bill. How do we get him to pay his bill and us not lose money in water revenue? If I can't shut it off. And as for digging him up and replacing him, if we do several that are in a general vicinity fairly close, I was told we will get a package deal and get them cheaper than taking a traco from southwest to northeast, to southeast, to northwest. And that's the way to do it, is you start in one neighborhood, you find the ones that absolutely do not work, and you fix them. Even if it's 2 this year, 3 next year, whatever.
They've been broken a long time.
Yeah, it's always been the homeowner's responsibility, and any money that is owed to the city can always be put on property taxes and collected like that. Every home, that's how that works. So the curb stop is the property owner's responsibility, always has been.
Until they have a water leak in their house and they say, well, shut my water off for them, I can't.
Yep, and then you find the closest.
Don't work.
Yep, and then you find the closest main lines and you shut those off. But, I mean, that's just how it is.
Well, I think it's time to move.
I agree with, council members
to
to not do a second reading on this.
I wasn't saying that. I just wanted to be brought up and discussed.
No, it doesn't need, that's the homeowner's responsibility.
I guess as a homeowner, I wouldn't want to get stuck with having to pay for it all, but as a city, we don't want to pay for it all either, so.
That could also be reworded and the homeowner and the city split the bill 50-50. That's another option to look at.
Then do they get the right, or we just pick their bill?
What do you mean get the right or pick the bill?
Well, do the city pick who's gonna put it in, or do they get to pick who puts it in?
I think it should be our responsibility.
Then we should be taking care of it.
Yeah, I agree.
That
We're
way
gonna
we
pick the
have,
vendor, we gotta pay the bill.
that way we have our contractors doing it, not just John Henry down the street that, oh, I got a shovel and I can dig 9 feet and replace your curb stop. That way it's done properly.
The only way we can do that is if the city is responsible for it.
The big expense is what I was worried about.
Okay, let's see, we have a motion to approve the second reading or not?
I'll make the motion to approve the second reading.
Do we have a second? Calling for a second on the motion to approve the second reading of the curb stop. No. Hearing no second?
I do a second. I'm the one that brought it up, and I think it's the right thing to do for the city. It doesn't have to be done tomorrow. It's something, maybe it's a 10-year plan and we do 2 a year for 10 years. I don't know, but we'll figure that part out. But I do think that it has to be the city's responsibility to replace them and maintain them. And from the curb stop to the house is the homeowner. So I'll make a motion to second.
Okay,
Can we have discussion real quick?
we
So
have a discussion.
where would this come on the budget? And if we approve this, if the city's gonna do it, where in the budget are we gonna put it or pull the money from effective today then?
It has to come out of the water fund.
It would be the same as if we don't move forward with it and it breaks, the homeowner has to pay for it. If we change the ordinance and it breaks, the city has to pay for it. So truly, until it breaks, there's no upfront cost. We don't have to make any change. We're just saying that when it breaks, it's the city's bill. It's not the homeowner's bill. Because the way we have it written right now, it's the homeowner's bill. And if they want to call Bob's bait, tackle, and plumbing, they can. And Bob's bait, tackle, and plumbing can put in a new curb stop. And I think that by changing the ordinance and making it the city's responsibility and using a city-approved vendor to make it right when something happens is the only way to undo or correct all that's gone wrong for the last 50 years.
Start there.
I see your point. My thing is looking at the big picture, because I mean, I'm a homeowner, so if they're gonna pay for it, and my water is great, that's great. But then I look at it where I'm sitting, and I wanna know where the money's gonna come from, and if we have 6 rate this year, how are we gonna afford it?
Then everybody in the city is gonna have a tax increase, and everybody in the city is gonna pay for it instead of just 6 of them to grow.
You had a comment
I
then?
had a comment. I got a call after the last meeting from a gal that used to be in the auditor here. And she told me about these reserve funds. The water fund has a reserve fund, so does the sewer and even the garbage stuff. Right now, this water reserve has 39,323 dollars. If you start,
That's 20 stops.
then they may have nothing. We're not talking about doing that maybe here.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I would say we should hold on to that money for a water tower. I mean.
How would we
they're
fix
pretty
the
pricey.
infrastructure?
So how about all the people who had to pay for their own curb stop in the last 30 years?
Sorry. Way the ordinance was,
Exactly, and that's the way it should be.
so we never changed, we never moved forward.
You don't go backwards,
We're not going backwards.
this is going backwards.
How is this going backwards?
Can you do some research and see what other cities do, because I can guarantee
I know
that.
Burlington does it. It's the way we're proposing.
Okay, can you get a majority?
I checked with Mr. Johansson in the city of Minot, and the city of Minot owns the curb stops. Owns the pipe to the curb stop, from the curb stop to the house of the homeowner.
I believe the city of Sawyer is doing a big program right now where they're going through and replacing so many a year.
So I did check with Mr. Johansson because it came up in a meeting. Minot owns to the curb stop, and from the curb stop to the house, the homeowner owns. But Minot owns the curb stop. Because it's their responsibility to not pave over that curb stop, or it's their responsibility when a homeowner comes in and wants to build on a lot, to say your driveway can't go there, that's where the curb stop is. And then as the city, you have that control about not putting a garden shed over your curb stop, because you own the curb stop. But because we don't own the curb stop, we, as a city, have allowed people to bury them.
Okay, do we have any more discussion?
I just got one thing, I mean, how would you feel if your curb stop broke and it's under the road and now you're repaving a road? You know what it costs to pave a road?
Where's the curb stop that's under the road?
I don't remember where it's actually at right now, I can find out for you.
Because you're the only one that's ever mentioned that, and I don't know of any, I know of a couple that are under driveway.
I'll get that for you.
Okay, who made the motion? Travis?
Yep.
I seconded it.
Tammy seconds. Okay, Travis, your vote?
Yep.
Tammy?
Yes.
Mike?
What we have in the reserve?
39,000.
Yes.
Lindsay?
No.
Twyla?
No.
Miss Jennifer?
No.
We have 3 no's and
Tie.
it's a tie. Oh, goody. I'll go ahead and vote for the second reading. Pardon? Yes. Okay, item 3, 4.0111 compensation, first reading. Payroll.
Help me understand what we're changing here, because I didn't quite get.
If you look at the bottom,
Yes.
This is the rates that we found on accounting, which we're getting a lot of.
Okay.
And I went with Jason Strand, he was the most, pretty much most recent. He was getting paid, he got changed, let me see, from 200 down to 175. The book says it's 200.
It's 175 plus $25 for a regular meeting.
That's what that means? Because on top, it'll say.
200 here.
The ordinance book isn't
They
listed
changed it like
correctly.
in, I'm gonna say 2018 or right after the 2016 election.
Well,
So it wasn't changed in the ordinance?
This is 18 right here. This one got changed from 200 down to 175.
We did
But
change,
evidently the book didn't get changed.
we did change it since we got overpaid for a while. And we all changed ours down to make it match to where it was supposed to be. I don't know if that's at this time, but I know we all had to take.
But that 316 is the first time that it went down to 175, is that correct?
The way it did, this is exactly the way it came off on the report. Just read it backwards.
So are we reading the ordinance because we don't know what the wage should be for the mayor, or are we reading the ordinance because we're changing the wage?
No, we're reading it because
We
don't
need
know
to
if
figure out
council
how
is
to pay
right
'em.
Or is the ordinance.
The record's not very clear.
The ordinance in my book here is 2009. And that's 200 for the mayor and 100 for council people and 25 a month for whatever.
I know at one point it got changed, so if it didn't get updated
And
anymore.
not that long ago, right? Because the 2018 wasn't that long.
Right.
There's a lot of
Did it get updated as a motion, Jenny, do you think, and just not the ordinance
I would
change?
assume so, I mean,
We did change them, if you remember that, I don't know when it was, I
Oh,
think it was 2008.
We changed it just to get everything so it came back in the
yeah,
budget.
for 1 year, and then 2019 went back to normal.
So normal was set in 2009?
so what is normal?
I thought it was 200, but I don't know.
So do we need a motion
Well, do you want to do that? You can set it straight.
to change it, or do we want to table it and do some research on back, ordinances and minutes to see out when it was changed and what it was changed to?
Are we changing the ordinance then?
Either one's up for option.
Don't know which is which.
What does the ordinance from 2009 read? I don't have that
Ordinance
information.
says compensation for mayor, city council, judge, and committee members.
So the only thing we need clarification on this ordinance is the $25 per month for what need description?
And that's just regular meeting. You get $100 a month no matter what. No, wait, you get $25 a month no matter what. And for every regular meeting you attend is $100. Every special meeting is $20. Committee meetings are $10. So that $25 per month is just for taking, basically taking emails, phone calls.
Oh, so the 25 is just an X on top of wage. Coming to a meeting.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't really say mileage, or that's just kind of how they wrap it.
I guess I'm looking at council member $25 per month for wage description.
So that's a
$25
retainer.
It's just per month, that's your wage.
Everything else had a description there, Diane, so we weren't
Yeah,
questioning any of the other ones.
Well, when you see the yellow on the side of the other ones, 175, this is what was in the accounting program, we were going to be getting paid instead of the higher numbers.
The inconsistency between what was programmed administratively compared to what actually reads in the ordinance.
So I'm gonna make a motion to write the ordinance for 2020 to read that the mayor receives a $200 monthly wage, $25 per month for mileage, $20 per month for special meeting attended, $10 per month for any committee meeting attended. I don't think the council members need the wage of $25. Okay, the council members will receive $100 per month for regular meeting attended, $20 per month for special meeting attended, $10 per month for committee meeting attended. The judge receives $200 per month. The committee members receive $10 per month for committee meetings attended.
So we want to strike the 25 for
Yes,
council members?
we're taking that up. There's no reason to pay us that.
Got it.
I agree with that.
So the retainer you're taking out, the 25? Yeah.
Yes.
I made a motion
I'll second it.
that the ordinance be
Seconded
accepted.
by Mike. Any more discussion? All in favor, Tammy,
Aye.
Mike,
Yep.
Travis,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Twyla.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item is an ordinance pertaining to expelling council members. I don't know if we need this, it's something I dreamed up.
I think it's a great idea, Chuck, but I would like to add in to this ordinance that the concurrence of 2/3 of the council members vote to permanently expel the member along with the two pieces of documentation that your ordinance indicates. I think that with 2 written warnings and a vote, the council member could be expelled permanently. But I don't feel that with just 2 written warnings, it is okay to expel a council member. I feel that with 2 written warnings and a 2/3 vote of the council, that the member is not acting in a fashion that represents the city. If you have a troublemaker on the city council, this is one of your only ways to get rid of them.
It does say the century code that you can remove them from sessions.
Yep, and I printed the century code and highlighted it, but nowhere in the century code, you can remove them from the sessions, but nowhere in the century code does it say removing them from the sessions will remove them from the governing body. And I think we need to add in there that there has to be a 2/3 vote of the council members to remove that individual. This will protect us going forward from incidents that have happened in the past.
I have a question.
Okay.
What's the time frame?
That was my next question.
I was gonna say
Expelled
within a calendar year.
within a 12-month period? Because if we say calendar year, now we're talking about
I
January
agree.
1 year to December 2nd.
I agree with you in a 12-month period, from your first written warning to your second written warning, that I shouldn't be receiving written warnings more than twice within a calendar year and still be on the city council
And you're saying you need 2/3 vote.
to confirm the removal of an individual.
This goes along with the home rule charter where it says that the home rule can write ordinances, or home rule has to write ordinances in order to supersede the century code. And this would be that ordinance that would supersede century.
What classifies as written warning?
It says in here,
I have a question.
Lila?
Couldn't the time frame be that from whenever the council member is elected, whatever their term is, rather than just a 1-year period? And who is writing the written warnings?
That's what I was asking, what classifies as a.
Who gives a written warning to a council member?
The mayor does.
it's not in the century code.
I didn't
21
see it in there either.
does not include it in -7, -8, or -5.
I would suppose it would be, I would suppose, I guess assume is the wrong word to use, but one would think it would be the mayor that would be as the head of the meeting.
I think it'd be the president of the council or the mayor,
Or both.
or both.
Sign off on it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Well, my question is, does one person give it, or are both of you giving it? Or are both of you agreeing to give it?
I think we both have to agree.
You both have to agree?
Mayor and the council president.
I would say the mayor would probably give it, and whoever the president of the council would have to agree with it before it could be.
written
a
warning.
written warning.
We got all that done?
I think he's doing it.
He was waving at me and.
You see the issues with that, Mr. Schultz? You need some time to think about it.
We can pass this tonight and anything can be changed on the second.
I would have some amendments for phrasing
Oh, of course.
and authorization of power, but not something. I can amend it for the next reading.
We can have a motion to pass it for first reading and then rephrase it for the second. Anybody interested in?
So what was the time frame? I'm sorry.
So are you passing, are you asking for a motion the way that it's written or including Tammy's correction or addition?
Motion the way it's written with the corrections coming before the second reading.
I would rather make a motion with the first.
I'd rather have them written on.
Yep.
Yeah, can we write it out before we make the first one, so we got all this up in a row?
Yep, let's table it till next month when we have something written up.
Sounds good. State aid allocation to park district.
Chuck, the president of the park board asked that we table this because they want to talk more at their park meeting.
Okay.
So if that's okay, if we just leave this as an item still in the works.
Okay, table it then.
We'll move it to June, May.
The issue is the state aid that allows us the 30%, and we're getting 6% now. But with the hired employees and the extra parks and we probably need more money.
Yeah, we don't have any more money.
We're gonna
Yeah.
take more money to get
I'm
more
gonna take it from you.
I can, just in case, we're not at the next meeting, the auditors a couple of years ago stated that bare minimum 20% needs to go to the park. This is his recommendation. It obviously wouldn't follow through with 20% needs to go to the park because in back pay, basically, this is we're so far behind. So like I would encourage if we don't give them what they want, I would encourage them to ask for back pay. That's just food for thought.
Well, if it's not budgeted, we don't have it. I mean, we could always go for next year, but.
It's in the budget. I don't know. This says it's not, but it's.
I don't remember seeing it ever in the budget, way to the budget. But I'm not saying I don't know perfectly, so it could be there.
Okay, city attorney opinion.
I had a few residents, nobody was on this council or has ever been on this council called me on this, and they asked about what's going on if this Jones should be suspended until everything's done. That's what this was supposed to be. This isn't exactly what I wanted, but that's what I got a couple of calls from residents asking that. So I just want to bring your attention because they're calling me.
What was the question?
They're asking if Jenny should be suspended, still on council, not off council, until everything's sorted out. That's pretty much what they're asking. I just said I didn't have an answer, so I know I've asked you, I talked to you about it, and I reached out to Diane, and then somewhere around between all of it, it kind of must have got.
I just responded to the.
Yep, I know, it must have got mistranslated, but that's the question I'm getting. Like, since nobody on this council or any former council member of other people.
If that's the question, I would say you're either on the council or you're not on the council. Now, I'm sure, Ms. Jones, you could decide not to vote, you could recuse yourself, you could fully participate, your participation is up to you. But as long as you are present, you can't be removed from the council for not being present.
Right, no, I had several questions about this email. Obviously, there's libel statements in here, there's all sorts of things. And the fact that I guess a sickness is not during a COVID pandemic.
Well,
is that an
also, I
excuse?
want to remind you.
Absence,
I'm
that's
sorry.
ridiculous.
I want to remind you.
That was your
this is-
recommendation in this email.
This is a confidential communication, and if you want to discuss it in public, it needs to be public. And then we can talk about it as much as we can.
Well, it was in the council packet, and you specifically said in here that it's not closed to the public, this is.
Yeah, confidential and subject to attorney-client privilege, so it needs to be formally filed before we can talk about it in public.
Well, there are libel statements in here, and I was, so, I mean, you have every right to roll me off, obviously, but.
Well, I just need to get clarification for other people. I don't like John's counsel, I don't need to say, but I'm getting out there.
Well, that's a huge switch from, people asking that question and this email return.
Right, and it just must have got mistranslated. That's what I was.
That was a huge mistranslation.
My big question with all of this is, yes, the mayor said you were sick, but it's still an unexcused absence unless we all voted on, hey, we excuse her from. You could have done like Twyla's doing right now, okay? Saying that it's ridiculous that for being sick is not an excused absence. To get an excused absence, it has to be voted on and approved of by the council.
When has that ever been a thing? Ever? I mean, I can remember a meeting last fall where there was a council member who had an attorney there fighting for him, stating that he was sick. And there was no roll call vote done, no excused absence at that one. So, I mean, this is absolute, complete harassment. I'm so sick of it. I
was merely reading.
Travis clarified, let's move on. Unless the attorney has anything else to say.
Okay, Heartland Law Office. What do we have there?
You read the letter?
Yeah.
I lost all my papers.
So first off, I wanna say what's in the packet. This is what I received from Mr. Waters. I didn't go looking for any of this stuff. He emailed it to me and I just printed it off and said, hey, this is what Patrick Waters sent. So that's what all of this is.
I have a question. The information from Heartland Law Office is that's not the attorney that's representing Jenny. Is this not a conflict of interest for everybody?
What was that, Twyla?
Well, I'm just concerned, or I'm not concerned, but I just have a question. This Heartland Law Office, it's my understanding that that's Jenny's attorney. And now we have all this information coming before us. Is there no conflict of interest here?
Well, this is, Andrew, I wanted to say this because that's right. It's actually two separate things. So when he's representing Ms. Johns in her case, he's acting as her attorney. When he's saying this stuff about the city and what he's talking about, that's his own thing. It's not related to his representation of Ms. Johns. So I view that as no conflict of interest because they're about two separate things.
But she can sit on the council and vote on whether or not we pay him or don't pay him for what he says we owe him.
I'm unfortunate that I can tell you that.
Doesn't make any sense.
She did get the vote on it, so thankfully bullet dodged on that one.
It's ridiculous.
Is there a question or
Well, he's asking us to do something, and what are the plans to move forward here? He wants to know what we're going to do.
Hang on. Mr. Schultz, is there anything in this thing we can't talk about? I don't want to get anybody in trouble for anything.
That's what I was looking to.
The only thing we should be talking about is his demand for payment for the services. That's it.
And that was already addressed last week.
Okay.
Last meeting. Everything else, I think, would require an in-depth conversation with me and my recommendation. So that's something that we might want to have a special meeting about or have an executive session.
So I have a question regarding the demand letter for payment. Is there any conversation with that?
He's making a demand, and how do we approach that demand? So we'll have a special meeting about it.
But my feeling is that the payment part was addressed at the last meeting and won't be addressed at this time. Good. Okay, designated official newspaper.
Can we get a special meeting about that sometime in the near future?
You're gonna need to address his demand in this letter.
Can you?
So we need an executive meeting.
I don't remember the exact date.
While we're all here and together, can we schedule a meeting to discuss this?
When's our next council meeting?
Month.
We do have 6/6/20 that we need to respond.
Will it be an executive session meeting or a public meeting?
First is our next meeting, but we want to have
Executive session, I think, Twyla.
Thank you.
Do an executive session before the meeting and then a regular meeting afterward.
Does that give you time to do what you need, sir?
I don't think so.
No.
It gives him less than 3 days.
This email was dated April 6th, though.
Yeah, if there's going to be any action that the city takes, then I would want time enough to actually do it to produce some substantial results. Agree, council?
That's what.
So if we could have a special meeting in the next couple of weeks, that would be fun.
Okay. Do you want to reach out to everybody, or do you want everybody to throw their?
Can we not plan it right here and now with all of us sitting here?
6 o'clock on the 1st of June.
No, you said that it has to
He
be
needs
within
more
a week.
time. He needs more time.
What did you say, a couple
Oh,
of
he
weeks?
said a couple of weeks.
Right, he's asking for a couple of weeks. So for him to have a couple of weeks before June 2nd, you are looking between the 11th and the 19th to have a meeting.
So next week.
Next week, Monday, 7 p.m., same place, same family.
There's something going on here Monday?
Actually, I did just get informed our park meeting has been moved to the 11th.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
What time?
7.
As long as
Meet at 5?
Tuesday, 12th.
Do it tomorrow.
I can do it tomorrow, the 8th. Yeah, let's do it tomorrow, the 5th, get it done.
All right.
Anybody?
Everybody?
Anybody?
What's, I'm sorry, tomorrow?
7 o'clock tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, what time? I have children to feed. 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
Make a post notice.
Is that enough time to post, Diane?
Yeah, okay.
And set everything up?
I'll give it to them. Hopefully it'll be.
So we're meeting tomorrow at 7?
Yes.
No, we want to put on the agenda executive session to go into executive.
Yeah, I mean,
Come back to it.
it'd be all executive session, so there'll be no problem.
Yeah.
No, I'll be deciding that.
Official
Can
news.
I join via Zoom then for an executive session meeting?
Yeah, we'll
we
have to
can
get
do
you
a
set
Zoom,
up.
Twyla.
that'd be a
Thank you.
but yeah.
Back to the newspaper.
Why do we need to designate an
You're
official?
supposed to do it for you.
Because they post our like our liable. to do that.
Well, and
Other than the Northern Century and my Daily News, what are other choices?
Well, we do realize that this goes on a ballot, right? Every 4 years it goes on the ballot.
It is on the ballot in June.
Well, if it's on the ballot, why do we need to vote on it? Don't the voters vote it? agree on it?
What's on the ballot is, shall we post the minutes of every meeting in your designated paper? So that's
Gotcha.
why we have.
Are you posting minutes now, Diane, in the paper? Or just on the website?
One time, and I got really questioned on it why I did it, and it appears they weren't doing it, so I thought, well,
Oh,
I'll back.
absolutely, they do it. Every month we're saying.
Really? Oh,
Regular
okay.
meetings,
I
every
have
single
people
month.
question, why is
It's so expensive. It's ridiculously expensive. You
expensive?
type all the minutes, all they have to do is copy and paste it.
But
Ridiculous.
I don't know if I've ever heard of a city voting it that much.
There's only 2
Costs of money for it.
Well, I'll make a motion that we designate the Minot Daily News as our official newspaper.
Anybody have a second? Lindsay? Any discussion?
Yeah, can we even do that to vote it on? I mean,
Yeah, who is it right now? If it was on the ballot, who?
No, the ballot.
The
only
ballot
should we
says-
publish the minutes, and it doesn't talk about.
Oh,
who
okay, I
what
get
you
you.
would want the minutes, like, it just
Oh, I
says, should we publish the minutes? That's all it says.
Well, what's the cost difference between the two papers?
Between Minot Daily News and Northern Century.
What's the other option?
The Minot Air Force Base newspaper, more people read that one than Minot Daily News. Way more reporters.
Yeah, it's next to a lot of military toilets too.
We can wait and vote on this next month, and I can do some checking.
Northern
I don't,
Century's gonna
I
be
mean, you
less
really
because
think that
they have like
your resident.
Would they allow, would the Minot Century paper allow that? That doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Why would we do that? I publish mine every month in the newspaper.
I don't know that we even need to have a discussion, we only have a newspaper. I mean, Minot Daily News is truly the only newspaper that you can get delivered in Surrey unless you're part of the Air Force Base, you can't subscribe to the Northern Century.
Exactly.
All right, who made that motion? Lindsay?
No,
Twilight.
Twilight, okay. And Lindsay. Twyla, how's your vote?
Yes.
Lindsay?
Yes.
Robert?
Yep.
Tammy?
Sure.
Michael?
Yes.
And Jennifer? All right. Minot Hockey Boosters. Let's see.
Okay, you're just renewing their, meeting license. Usually in Burlington, they turn to the police department, say, are there any issues with the gaming license? Okay. Then you guys have to approve it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Michael?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Twyla?
Yes.
Travis?
Yep.
And Lindsay?
Yes.
Engineers report.
I didn't get anything.
No engineer. Public Works. UTV.
I put an extra handout in front of everybody tonight with this little chart of the 6 UTVs that we priced out. For easy reading pleasure, the John Deere's are on the top and the Bodas are on the bottom. I start my discussion to say that I'm not speaking for AJ, I'm just sharing my opinion, and I don't own one of these and hope to never. The Kubota seem to be a little bit more reasonable in price. And they have a cab that is a little bit more airtight, which would protect AJ from spray. I don't know anything about the mechanical ability of a UTV to understand why a John Deere would be quite more expensive. Which is why I put this all in a chart for you, because it is not something I can do without a chart. So there's a variety, there's a couple of used ones, you have the pricing on a new one. In the budget, we only have we don't have enough money to buy anyone. We only have $9,000 to buy a UTV, and all of them are over our budget. I don't know, can we wait another year?
But here's one,
So technically, this will probably be a good time to bring this up. Came to my attention that there was, when the vector fund was added to the water bill, there was never a separate fund set up to regulate the expenditures and expenses in and out of that fund. So when I told AJ to get estimates, that was back when I thought it was being kept track of, it never was. So technically, yes, there's only $8,000, and I'm gonna make a motion tonight to remove that vector control, or bare minimum, drop it down to $1 until we can get that under control. Like, that money has actually been misappropriated. We've been taking in close to $19,000 a year, and
For how many years?
about 4.5 years now. Approximately $19,000 a year. Budgeting for expenditures of $8,000 and actually only spending $3,000. So there's like $70,000 there that's unaccounted for. And that's the money that I thought would have been there to purchase the UTV. However,
I started a fund, vector control fund, and I moved 18,462 over.
it's its own separate fund out of the general fund though. We're on what sheet of money? This is what you have in there.
You don't want to vote, please?
And is this a transfer from last year?
Well, this, my,
No, that's
1,100 taken off.
good, that's what it should be. This is what should have happened.
On the next page, Travis, it shows you the weight. You have another page. It is, and that shows you the weight of the sprayer.
Oh, that's perfect, that's exactly what should have been. No transfers.
Return it or just keep them straight.
Why don't you run the same thing?
Well, these sprayers weigh between 500 and 125 pounds.
Full?
No, empty.
I don't remember, I've got the payload capacity of them.
It's not on these sheets, because I would put that in there because I look for it at first.
I came up with that there's $8,000 to spend in the general fund. That is fantastic, but that was not budgeted for 2020, so it's ongoing, fantastic. But this year, no. So there's $8,000 to spend, and obviously, I think some chemical was purchased already, right?
Yeah.
So whatever, subtracted, whatever.
55 gallon drum per year.
So where's that money gone for all these years?
It just went directly into the general fund.
It just stayed.
And then it's never been accounted for?
It looks like it.
It's there, but it's just not in its own fund.
Fix that?
I did it right at the end of this. tax.
Well, what about everything else?
We have $18,460 back.
Well, what about all the money that went into the general fund? Spent?
That's for 2019, I imagine, right?
2019, so money that we collected, the vector control goes into its own line item within enterprise. I take that on at the end of the year and I put it in the vector control fund.
Okay,
This
so-
fund will just keep growing.
Okay, so that was last year, but what about the previous years?
It's just gone. I mean,
What
It's a
about
valid question.
18, 17, 16?
I know, what is that?
Absorbed in the general fund. Isn't absorbed in the general fund, Jenny?
It had to have been, because there's no separate fund that was set up.
Well, that's,
Anyways, so right now it's budgeted to take in like $19,000. I would love Diana to do some math and just make that an even $8,000 income or revenue, $8,000 expenditure for this year, and drop the water bill payment for the vector control down to match that. So I'm assuming it's gonna be like $1.25 instead of $3.
you would like 8,000 in there at the end of the year. Around
I mean,
8,000.
legally, yeah.
Is that totally what that was set up for?
Specifically.
And then when.
For any expenditure for mosquito chemical,
Yeah, it
logging,
could be any.
UTV. Yeah.
But you also budget somewhere else for that, don't you, in the general fund?
That's for, expenditures.
Right. But that would be,
But I used to be,
No UTV for us.
That's when you point it originally. I say we wait for another year.
so you don't even want to take some of this out, so just go along with what he's got budgeted, you can get a little bit better one?
Well, we got 3 pickups, I mean,
But you can't drive the pickup down the walking path.
well, we did last year, didn't we?
No, I did not fog anything on the walking path in Silver Springs. Like right now, as wet as it is,
Yeah, you couldn't.
that would be ideal for like going checking fence, the lagoons, doing stuff out there.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be driving right now.
So can this UTV go toward the general fund instead of the vector fund, or a portion of it? If there's $8,000 in the vector fund and we need another $8,000,
And there's 18,642 in that fund.
So my question
spend in
is,
2020.
Well,
so my question is there a way we can go back and figure out what shouldn't be in the general fund and should be in the public works vector?
well, it's a transfer at the end of the year. You let the fund build up and at the end of the year, whatever's in there, you transfer into the back.
Well, can we see what was transferred over the last 4 years?
Yeah, you said there wasn't. It doesn't.
There wasn't an account.
Well, yeah, I started this account. I didn't know if it was under something else, but.
Is there a way that we can go back and try to
Yes.
figure out what was in there so that we can like do it?
Well,
Since it
if the
wasn't
general fund can
If
handle
the
it.
general fund has the money
Yeah,
to move it,
that's-
the general fund might not have the money to move it.
Can you look in to see what was transferred in there for the last 4 years? And
I'm talking about approximately, I just did quick math, $72,000.
So
If the side by side is getting scrapped and the 9,000 or whatever that was budgeted for that, if that's getting scrapped, I transfer that to like street repair and try to get some more streets fixed up a little bit, that the cracks are getting horrible and the frost seeds are coming through.
I would recommend keeping that in your fund for next year if you want.
But at the end of the year, it's, if you don't use it, you lose it.
they're not no more. That's what financial set up.
Yeah, because she started an account.
but we have 18,000 in vector fund.
That's in vector.
So we do have some money in vector control.
That was set up this year though, so technically it wasn't approved for the 2020. She did start doing it now, yes, fantastic, but
So you're saying that it wasn't meant to be spent this.
I'm saying this is the first year it was actually done right.
So good job, Dan. You did it right.
Mhm.
Thank you.
But we can't spend it.
Not till next year.
Public Works, time and a half for double time for working on holidays.
Are we skipping on mosquito blocker?
Well, we don't have any money
Okay,
in
I
this
just-
package deal,
Okay.
right? The UTV and the,
Works all together.
we did it.
We're
Now
in
it's-
public works. You get a minute. It's a copy right away.
Oh, that is.
Public Works,
What's this, hour and a half?
If Public Works gets called in on a holiday, do they get paid 1.5 times that they're paid because they do get holiday pay, or do they get? Or do they, do they get their straight pay? Plus their holiday
Didn't
pay?
we discuss this last week?
We were gonna look into it, it was tabled.
And what did you find out?
Well, I just called a few other towns and the way I wrote it up. I wrote it on your informational sheet.
So it's right here. Public Works is 1.5 times or double time. There's nothing in the personnel policy. Other cities do 1.5 times plus their 8 hours of holiday pay. So if you get called in on Christmas Day, do you get paid straight time or time and a half?
So it's always been set up that you get your 8 hours of holiday pay, and then, like, let's say you're at 35 hours for the week, and then you get to 40, I mean, you get straight time until you get to 40, and then it turns into time and a half. It would be holiday plus time and a half, but otherwise it's just straight time.
Until you hit.
That's always been a major issue with, I mean, the Department of Labor.
Got that in there?
Yeah, they have to work 40,
Yeah, they have to physically work. 40 hours.
actual physical labor.
Before they get overtime.
Time and a half, James.
I think our discrepancy lies with our 9-hour days and getting 8-hour holidays.
Well, we solved that one too last week.
Okay.
Okay, auditor, planning, zoning, building permit.
No. It's changing.
Now, AJ gets to do his report.
Oh, I thought you did that.
No, Tammy got it in front of him.
I called you twice. Well, usually you guys want to report, so I'll make it short and sweet, because I know Lou's raring to go with this.
We only got 12 minutes till we all turn into funky.
You're beyond that. So in the last 6 weeks or so with the COVID-19 stuff going on, I tried getting ahead, or Public Works tried getting ahead of flushing sewer mains, making sure everything was just clear as it could be, so on and so forth. We did a mad super flush of the city of Surrey because I could not get a straight answer from anybody as to when the last time it was actually completely 100% done. Of all the manholes in town, 85 to 90% of the manholes physically had water dumped in them from a hydrant and or fire truck. The ones that didn't get water physically dumped in had extra water flushed from dead end mains. Right now, Keller Paving is going to be here. They're supposed to start up their asphalt plant sometime next week. They're hoping, weather permitting. Silver Springs is fixing a manhole in Anfield Court that got paved over when all that was done. They're paying for that as far as I believe. Keller Paving reached out to me and asked if there was anything around the city of Surrey that we would like done. I made a list of a few things and I've got quotes for most of them. Today, by the way, Bobby Olson is back for the season, so yay. Him and I drove around, looked at a bunch of streets in town that, in his professional opinion and my getting to professional opinion, we thought that need to be addressed. 3rd Street Northeast, 4th Street Northeast, and there's 2 on 4th Street Northeast. Keller Paving quoted us almost $7,000 to come in, pick the asphalt up where the frost heaves are pushing through the asphalt. Everything's alligator cracked, alligated, whatever you want to call it. It is bad. Rob took a probe and he could probe down 2.5 feet easily. So these are spots that need to be addressed. Some other spots that I had that I would like to get addressed is right back around the corner here by Terry Johnson, where you make the corner. The trash trucks have totally ate the pavement out in the corner. It's getting pretty bad. The 2 manholes by the school, they're great for speed bumps. They really suck for plowing snow. I have looked at them and I think that we should be able to come in, saw cut around the manhole, pick the manhole ring and lid off, and they can pull, there's riser rings in them. They should be able to pull 1, if not possibly 2 rings and get those manholes at grade or just slightly below, so we quit hitting them with the plows, tearing the plows up. If you guys want to do it. I believe there's $28,000 in the street repair budget. All this is well under that. There's a spot on 2nd Avenue Southeast and 1st Avenue Northeast that I got a quote for about $1,500 to fix the spots, more trash truck damage and frost heaving.
To fix all of this, do we have a number?
Not complete fully yet.
So we have 7,000 to fix 3rd Street Northeast and 4th Street. And we have 1,500 to fix 2nd and 1st, but we don't have a estimate for Terry's corner or the school manhole.
No, not yet, because because this was kind of a last minute deal and they're starting their plant within hopefully a week, weather permitting. That's why I wanted to kind of address it to you guys, so that's what I want to see done. Bless you. Also, we got the crack seal machine pulled out today. Obviously, it's too cold to do it. I have been waiting because everybody's been calling, texting, stopping me. When are you gonna crack seal? When are you gonna crack seal? Bob's here. We went over the crack sealing machine today. We fixed some things that we found that were wrong. And as soon as it warms up, that's our plan, is to start doing some crack sealing and try to get ahead of the game. Also, I got some signs in today that I ordered a month ago for the 2nd Street Northeast truck traffic issue. Nice big pretty signs. Hopefully that will slow down.
Are they before the turn or after the turn?
They're still in the shop. They haven't been put up.
Okay.
I believe, if I remember right, I ordered them a month ago. It's a 5-ton axle limit sign, and then there's some weight strictly enforced $200 minimum.
My question was though, are they on the street after you've already turned?
They will be on the corners.
Okay.
And then
It's already too late.
But they're right there, they should be
He's
looking
getting
at.
them put up so you can see them before you're on the street.
Where are you gonna go from there? On Fourth?
I'm good, man.
There, lift it up. What do you think?
I got the pin, Travis. Let me finish. Bob Swordall with Ward County went in and put bigger signs on County Road 12. You cannot go any bigger. So Ward County's put signs up. I've got bigger signs to put up. The only other thing we can do is have somebody out there with an orange flag.
Are they going on 111th Street though? That's gonna be the main issue, is people turning off the highway.
That's what I mean, you're already too late.
I have signs to put. I think I have enough to put on 111th, but that is township, is it not?
Well, you're gonna have to have one on the highway. But once they make
And
that corner.
we can't do that.
Right,
That's
so
the
once you
highway
make that corner, it's too late.
We tried working with Dana, and I think you weren't able to get it done.
Diane, Dana, me, and an engineer from the state of North Dakota all met here January, and we've been working on it ever since. It's a matter of getting the states, the state guy said a lot of it is people programming their GPS and following their GPS. So this paving stuff, we want to.
You have $18,000 in your street repair, so as long as you have enough money to crack seal this year, I believe you'd have to start in the northeast again. I think it's every 3 years the turnaround. So that would be northeast, a little bit in the southwest still. So as long as you stay within your budget, I think you need to repair your street.
Is it too early?
To
Crack seal and stuff, the
Crack
seal and stuff.
For weather, yeah, sure you can crack seal.
He knows that. They did on it.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple residents to call and you can tell them that it's too early.
Sure. You give me their phone number, I'll call them. I'm winning the popularity contest this week.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I was just gonna bring you up to speed on planning and zoning stuff. Mr. Schultz addressed the owners of the property, references the Olson property in the past, so that they have till July 13th to carry through with the motion you guys went forward with last month. And to date, we haven't heard any kind of response from them. So that's that. As far as zoning, Kim Shaw indicated she would be willing to serve as a zoning member for a few months. And so I wanted to see what your guys' thoughts were on that, to see if she could fill a vacancy as a temporary zoning member.
She has a wealth of information and that would be wonderful.
I was very excited to hear she would be willing. So we just need a motion to approve that.
I'll make that one.
We need to vote on that, I suppose. Any more discussion? Kim was the president of the planning and zoning for years. Okay, Mike,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yep.
Travis.
Yep.
Tammy,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and Twyla.
Yes.
Yay. Okay, and so with that, just to summarize our joint power agreement with the building inspector through Ward County, we've been working back and forth with that. Ward County did clarify they will not be taking over our city's regulatory process and our jurisdiction. They did agree to transfer, the city agreed to transfer its permitting, however, to Ward County. So with that, they understand that it's a unique process to be working through. Because previously the city, received a permit into the hall. The inspector went on site, which is where our mayor now, and then brought the plans back to the clerk and said, this is approved. So right now, with Ward County being in the process, an application is going to be submitted to the city hall. The city hall is required to review the setbacks. And then the city sends a copy to the county for their preliminary building inspection. And once that application's reviewed and it's signed off by both of us, the city invoices the applicant and Ward County issues the permit. And we pay Ward County. So we've been working together and it's been a big process. We've spent a lot of time on trying to make it smooth as possible because we've had some permits come in. We had 5 building home plans for Silver Springs. And so with that, I mean, the city basically agreed to do a joint agreement with Ward County, relinquishing their rights to have the fee schedule that was in place and have the permitting schedule that was in place. So it's a complete new process.
So, what do we want to stay with, or do we want to try to?
She drives me crazy.
We need to start looking for a.
One thing I gotta say is, Diane reached out to me one day about this. I don't know anything about setbacks or anything. That's a specialized deal, and I reached out to the mayor, and he went and took care of it, thankfully, to get the contractors going.
But they can't initially go until Ward County issues that permit. I mean, even though the city says, yeah, our regulations are good, they have to get the go from the county as well. The county is the end permitting. So it's awesome that Chuck was able to help, especially since Silver Spring also has special agreements and special setbacks.
Yeah, we have CCR.
So I mean, that's great, and they've been great to work with. Ward County has been great to work with. It's just how do you approve $300,000? Have the liability of approving a $300,000 home without having a process in place. So this is kind of what we came up with the agreement that you guys signed on. Ward County said that the fees and the process were not discussed at the time the agreement was signed. So that was a big thing to get a hurdle to get over, and to work through.
Yeah, it's worked out all right for the committee with the plan reviews here. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. And so that way we can get Ward County to do the inspecting and we can keep on building it and progressing on that. Anita. Mayor, I don't know, I don't have anything to say.
They will only look at structural and sign permitting. They're not going to be looking at any fences, any concrete.
The Public Works is gonna do the concrete driveways inspections.
Okay.
We'll handle it. Mayor, I haven't got anything to say.
Chuck, can I say something?
Sure.
Mr. Mayo. So somebody told me, I don't know who, that Chuck, our mayor, was locked out of the office. Is this true?
Everybody wants that job.
Everybody.
Oh, no, absolutely not. The mayor, that's a North Dakota Century Code violation. He has the right at any time to walk into that office and inspect any file, anything in the office. So I want tomorrow, AJ, please, if you could get a key ring made for every door in this office. Well, Diane, can you please have him made?
We're in a pandemic. I think that
Absolutely.
supersedes.
Not to the mayor.
He is
And
not
there was
getting
a,
key
there
to
was
the
an
police
issue with him
department.
being going out of.
He has every right to have a
country,
key to the
He's
police
not getting
department.
key
We
to
had
the
a
police
discussion on
department.
this last month, Jenny. We had a very lengthy discussion on this last month. And we either made the choice of having.
Why are we sitting in this room right now with each other then?
We had this discussion last month, that there were too many people who didn't feel comfortable in doing this from home, which is why we come here and do this tonight, because it's our obligation as city council members.
Okay, everybody except the mayor then, because the mayor is the only one with the North Dakota Century Code violation.
But at the same time, Jenny, the mayor had traveled out of the country.
Okay, he's been back for what, 2 months
That
now?
was months ago. Months ago.
When we made the decision as city council to lock down the office, he had been home for 3 days. And so the office has been reopened. It is open to the public.
So no win.
No, it hasn't.
The front door is, isn't it?
No, because we haven't voted on it.
When is it going to be open?
Well, I guess I saw in the paper this weekend that mine had still closed and they're still having closed meetings. I don't know if that's a good one to follow or. I would like to see 2 more weeks at least to see with everything opening up again if there's a spike. But I think I can speak for mine.
That's fine with me, as long as the mayor is allowed to come in that door. I would like a key ring made for him.
I just don't think one person should be able to, because they're out.
One person has the right to examine anything in that office at any time.
They're out in the public, going around doing, if we open to one, we just, well, open the whole thing.
I bet Mr. Schultz is going around in public too. We all are at some point in time.
That's why I'm asking for it.
But you're asking for a key, you're saying he can come here anytime he wants at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, is what you just said.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he's the mayor, he can.
Oh, he can.
I mean,
If you're looking at up, well, I didn't write it down. But no, that's, when I heard that, that's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm sorry, I agree with Jenny. I think it's ridiculous and I fought for it last month and it didn't go anywhere.
I think you come in during daytime hours, but I don't think you should have a key.
We were talking about trash.
Why would he come at 2 in the morning?
I don't see any reason to change. I'm sorry, but we last month, we had a very long discussion about it last month, and I still feel the same as I do today about it. It is our job as city council to protect the city staff who has to be here on a daily basis. All of the other city halls in all of the other communities are locked down, and all of their mayors do not come to the office.
Oh, I wasn't, but I can definitely.
I'm sorry, but Diane is there and Anita's there and Chuck is there. None of you are wearing masks. None of you are wearing gloves. What's the difference?
Just keep your.
Sorry, it's ridiculous.
I have state and federal programs that my department participates in. I will not allow anyone to have a key to the police department. My officers, as sworn law enforcement officials, have access, and that's it. You can come in my office anytime you want, as long as you're accompanied by a police officer. That's just the way it has to be.
I'm not talking about the police department. I'm talking about the city office. Me personally.
John said she wanted him to have a key to everything, and I'm making it perfectly clear.
I didn't say that. I said he should be allowed in the office.
I would disagree. You can come into the police department anytime you want, but you will be accompanied by a police officer.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think anybody has a problem with that.
There's no reason to make it Hewitt.
Oh, 1,000%. If we are fighting, you're violating the North Dakota Century Code on the duties of and powers of a mayor.
We just discussed this
Can we
last
do some
month.
research? You're, Mr. Attorney?
It's Mr. Schultz. What's the language you have over there? I can look it up.
Well, just in our city ordinance, it's 4.0202. I didn't write down the century code. But at any time.
But we just discussed this not even 2 minutes ago, that we're not giving anybody a key to the building because of the police department that's in the building.
Right, we don't want police department.
Yeah.
My locks are separate from everything else. So if he gets a key to the front office, that does not give him access to the police department. So I don't have an issue with that. Yeah.
Completely locked.
My locks are completely different than everyone else.
I will
It's
say.
not on the agenda. It's not on the agenda. It was discussed last month and now it's brought up again this month. And I don't know why we're discussing something that we discussed last month. I feel very strongly that you have to support the people who have to be in this office. And as good a person as Chuck is, I have to be honest that I don't believe that he practiced social distancing. I believe that he talked with quite a few community members. He is exactly the person that you read about. You go to coffee at the gas station and you go to the feed mill and have soda. And you go from one group of people to another group of people. You have to protect your staff. Who is going to run this office if they get sick?
We've been able to do our work on the phone with anybody that calls. It can be done, it's that simple. And Chuck, we've given you paper anytime you want.
2 more weeks.
I would love to just have 2 more weeks.
Let's get on with something else.
Good Lord.
All right, guys, can I take you back to one more thing on the zoning? I'm sorry.
Make it quick.
I know, I'm talking about the other extraterritorial position. Would it be something you'd be interested in asking the county make the exception for the city?
To have 2.
To have 2
from the ET.
from outside of city limits represent zoning and
Yeah,
3
you need to
from,
do that because there's a lot more interest outside of the city limits than there.
You just don't want more.
Right, it has to be even. You can't,
No, I think it's 4 to 1, isn't it?
that's what it is right now. We were asking to go 2 to 2.
Yeah, the county said that.
it would have to be request made from the city to the county.
Yep.
If that'd be something you'd be interested
The
in
city is the one that.
going with.
that Has all the infrastructure and the police and everything, so we can't have the people living out of town having control over what's going on in.
Right.
Okay, mayor, policeman.
Are we gonna talk about it or?
No,
Oh, we just want to keep it at 1?
I'll talk to the Ford County about changing the zoning.
See, we can't get anybody in town. They're short right now. What have we got?
We got 3 right now, but if Kim goes on, then that'll be 4.
Oh, then that'd be 4.
But then to have a 5, the full 5 zoning with, if we're doing 35 homes in Silver Springs, and if we're doing a Dollar General, we're gonna need a full zoning board. That's just how I feel, I guess. But
You're not doing 35 homes in Silver Springs. You're gonna be lucky to do 5. That's the reality of it. They're only digging basements for 2. They only have financing for 4. And they only have financing for 4 if they get a different builder, because they're not gonna sell a house that Peterson puts his name on because of how bad he did it for the first 30 that he built.
so yeah, I don't know. Does that take normally a motion? Would you need a motion to
Chuck's
request?
gonna talk to Ward County first.
Oh, okay,
Basically,
okay.
Okay, now policeman.
Chief?
Council? Not a whole lot to report. We got some more personal protective equipment from Axon, which is the maker of our tasers, for free. They're gonna be shipping it to us. That'll save us some money in replenishing what we've used during the COVID outbreak. Officer Olson has finished her first month of patrol in a car by herself. She's doing well. So we will be changing our shifts now, so there will be less overlap. I failed to mention at the last council meeting, there was a lot of overlap, just because we wanted to make sure that our new officer was protected and had backup at a moment's notice. Now that she's doing well, that's going to change, so you won't see as many officers out at one time. Also, my schedule this month, I'll be working nights and overnights primarily. I'll still be in the office during regular business hours occasionally to make sure everything gets handled that needs to be handled. I'm also available by my cell phone if you guys need me for anything. I was looking through our budget, and I realized some of the people on council are new, and we've got some people that have been voicing concerns about our police department. I just want to make sure everyone is aware that when I took over the department, my first year as the administrator, I cut $40,000 out of the budget. I reduced our department by one entire position, dropping us to 3 full-time officers. Since that time, we're still operating at a budget that's $20,000 less than what was ran by the previous administration. I just wanted to share that with everyone to make sure everyone is aware that I'm trying to be as fiscally, financially responsible as I can. Anyone have any questions for me?
No, we appreciate it.
Yeah, keep up the good work.
Thank you. Next item, administrator.
Yeah, I went through the banks, called them, I was talking to them quite a bit. In a nutshell, I don't know how much you want me to get into it, but I believe First International Bank is the best fit for us. They're not gonna charge for check lines or deposit tickets, they're gonna give us endorsement stamps for free, their interest rates are higher. They just have a better plan that works for us. Yes.
We need a motion to switch banks.
Who is Jeremy on again?
Burma.
If Bremer, they're not on this list. What are their stuff comparable lists?
They charge
Well,
all kinds of fees, and we just
what-
want to get away from them.
I
You
know,
asked
but what, I wanted to see what Bremer was, so see what kind of step in the right direction was. I just wanted to compare it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But what do you suggest?
I suggest First International Bank.
I'll make a motion to change to First National Bank.
I'll second that.
First motion by Tammy, second by Twyla. Any more discussion?
Thank you for putting work into it, Diane.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to knock on it.
No, I know.
I was
I
just
just didn't even think, because I thought we just don't want to do it.
Hearing
They're
no,
charging fees for too many years.
hearing no discussion. Tammy,
Yes.
Twyla,
Yes.
Lindsay.
Yep.
Travis. Yep. Michael.
Yes.
And Jennifer.
No.
I will say that I do plan to try to use up as many of the check lines and stuff that we have, such things. So it won't be an overnight.
Right, you're not calling tomorrow.
No.
Okay, property sale to the tree line. That's that, aerial photograph.
Yep.
Isn't that, property owned by the park board, not by the city?
Well, we looked
No.
on the GIS and said city of Surrey.
If we found further,
Didn't the park board already sell a chunk of land to this somebody?
It was going to, but the fella next door to him wanted to buy the land below him, that, we haven't done. We got it.
We've talked about this in the past.
Oh, we did sell that land, over here to Chuck Badke.
No, I meant
Up
the
there.
same situation as what's going on right now.
Yeah, no, it wasn't sold.
It wasn't, so there is no precedent set. Okay.
Didn't the third guy in,
He bought the lot next to it, but he didn't buy the lot. down
he
to
didn't buy the strip below?
No.
Okay.
Here's my question with this. What does he exactly want? If this is our land, right? This is not the park board's land?
no, it's recorded under the city.
Okay, so what are we exactly selling?
Just was stripped back to the trees, because he says he's already mowing
To
everything.
the trees, to the walking path, all the way up to the edge of the walking path? How much are we,
It's to the trees is what they've been,
how far from the walking path is that?
It's like
20 feet.
Another 20 feet to the walking path?
Yeah.
My biggest question would be if someone were to throw a fence up, and they own the very the walking path, they throw a fence up there and they put.
That's why the park hasn't been interested in really selling it.
What I'd like to just point out is if you sell to one person, it makes the block so it's not even.
Yep.
Yeah, you'd have to
Fence lines going all over.
subdivide and
And
replot
you're
them.
gonna have them all asking to buy. Because I know that the guy on the second house in wants to do the same thing. I thought he already did. But he's probably just, yeah, he's probably just mowing it too.
Yeah, he's the one that's been trimming all the trees down there and but he's doing a good job and helping a lot. Jennifer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This does say City of Surrey. I'm looking at the GIS map right now. However, this is Park District land.
So is it recorded wrong?
There's a lot of recording that is under the City of Surrey and its parkland. So this is not.
I didn't think so, that's why I'm asking, I thought it was her.
So what if,
I looked through all of.
what do you do then if it's recorded wrong?
I went through and I couldn't find where the documents were.
Yeah, where the deeds.
So does he have to go to the park board then?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
No practical planning and zoning.
Past due water bill.
Sending collections. Sorry.
Blaine called me this afternoon.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought it was blank to me. I didn't know it was an individual person.
Oh, it's a blank, and the blank called me this afternoon. He called me a blank. Never mind. And he is of the opinion that he didn't sign the water thing as Ken did. And as much as the Otter Tail never went back on him for electric bills and then he never went back on him for gas bills, he doesn't see why the city should be going back on him for water bills.
Well, my only problem with that is if, the water's already been paid for. The city has paid for the water. My problem with that is that every citizen in town is now paying Mr. Klein's water. That's my problem. I think Mr. Klein should pay water.
Well, it's the same with Otter Tail.
That's their issue, not mine. My job is to represent citizens for the city, and if they're picking up somebody else's water bill, then why can't my water bill be picked up by everybody else too?
My thing is, we deducted the late fees.
Yep.
And he agreed to pay the rest. And
The
that,
minutes from December 2nd, 2019 say exactly what Lindsay just said. If the city would remove the late fees, he would pay the water bill, period.
he did say that in the meeting, so we did drop the late fees and all those charges, and he agreed to pay the water bill.
So is it correct that the county said that we can assess it to the property?
Yes.
Plan?
Yes.
Well, I'll make a motion that we move forward with that.
Are we moving forward to just assess it, or are we moving forward to send the collection?
To levy it on to the property.
Shouldn't we send it to collections first so that he knows that if he doesn't pay the bill, we're levying it onto the property?
Collections is very expensive
Yeah,
and never
you don't want
been
to
used,
do that.
and you never end up getting any
You don't
money. So I don't think we need a motion even, but if that's the decision you all made in December, that still stands.
Do we have a collection agency?
I don't think we do.
No.
We did research on it and it was very expensive,
Very
so
expensive.
everybody just.
You only get half of what you usually, if you collect anything, you usually only get half.
But we should have sent it to his taxes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
This is Nancy Klein.
Yes.
We're not taking public comment.
I'm sorry?
We're not taking public comment. Well, I guess, I'm sorry, I can't make this, that's your decision to make.
That sounds like a good idea.
He knows he owes the water. He knows he owes the bill.
Say again, Twyla?
He knows that he owes the money for the water bill. And I agree, I get it that, you know, the water's been paid for by the city, but at the same time, I think the city, we upheld our end of the deal by taking all the penalties or interest off, whatever it was, the fees.
Sending a letter, or should I call?
It'll just be
tomorrow?
done November 1st.
I think that we should do a very good job of communicating with them. I don't think it will hurt in any way to have a phone conversation and follow that up with a letter to say that if your water bill is not paid by this date, we are going to levy it to your property taxes. We need to do a great job of communicating that we cannot over communicate this. There is no harm done in both Chuck calling him and one of the people from the office calling him. There is no harm done in communicating, over communicating this. And following up with a letter to say that if it's not paid by date, you can pick, you know, pick June 1st, pick whatever date you want.
It doesn't work every time. You have, when you certify it, the county has to get some kind of it. So it'll just sit there until November.
Well, then let him know that if, you know, it's not paid, I would set a date, so let him know if it's not paid by the 1st of October that you're sending it. But, and I would even go so far as to send it certified mail, so he has to sign and get it, so that you can say to his face that in good faith, you made a good faith effort to do your part in collecting this money that is due to the city, that the city has paid for this water.
Does the agreement with the city council that they'll drop the penalties if he pays the bill? still
They've already
stand?
been dropped.
They've already been dropped?
They've already been dropped.
So he just-
We've already done our part.
All right. I will talk to him tomorrow.
Can I just ask one quick question, Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
Was he notified as a rental property that that rental property had fallen behind after 2 months? I believe that's one of our policies.
The UV program is not set up that way. There's a way to set it up and check a box that he's a tenant, and then you run the late payments, and it was not set up that way.
There's a rental and not owner.
So you be a tenant. The box says T tenant, yes or no. Nobody had that on their accounts.
Resident or owner. So he wasn't notified.
Okay, other business correspondence?
Oh, Chuck, I'm so sorry, but it just should go really fast. Just 2 more things. I was also told that there's an unemployment claim into the city and, like they had a call this week and it lasted for 2 hours. I guess I would just recommend that every single council person request a recording of that phone call. The city of Surrey has never denied unemployment to anybody. This is for Miss Dickinson. She's seeking $147 a week. I believe AJ, Anita, and Diane were in on the phone call, which is completely unnecessary with the city administrator. I don't know what kind of, it's hatred, it's vengeance. I listened to part of it. So there's absolutely no reason for that.
Who has the recording?
I know Sabrina, Miss Dickinson recorded.
We didn't record it, so don't record it.
Job service recorded it. It was,
The paper said to get the people there that you needed to speak about certain situations, so we did. I went right line by line what that report told me to do.
That sounded
And
pretty
here's
bad.
the problem. We all know she kept coming and wanting hours, more hours, because there was so much work to do. When she went to unemployment, her reason that came back to us in the report was lack of work. That is flat out not true. We couldn't sign that and say, oh yeah, there was lack of work. So we said
What
that
was she
wasn't.
technically fired for again though? Do you remember?
Does that matter on this, on what we're talking about?
No.
I think everybody should press that. Last thing, I think we should set up a personnel committee. I got some complaint forms delivered to my house. Personnel committee, just to address the treatment of some residents in town. I would recommend Twyla and Tammy, since they are the newest.
Can I ask, what is the policy for complaints from taxpayers?
I was told this was the first time it's ever happened and they weren't really sure how to handle it.
I have the same forms that Jenny does, but I don't really know what to do with them or how they're to be handled. Lindsay, do you have any insight in that?
Well, I guess I don't have those same papers that you two ladies have, so I don't know what the complaints are or who they are on.
Is there a policy?
Because are you not the personnel commissioner?
I am the
That's what I
personnel
did. I
commissioner,
went
and
to-
we did get, some in the office, 2 weeks ago, now, Diane. And I did, reach out and talk to our attorney to find out what we need to do with these. Some of them, actually all of them have been addressed. There was one for Chief Coca, there was one for Officer Kircher, which had been taken care of by Mike, and I didn't do anything with those. When Diane called me, I called Mike right away and let him know about the complaints. I did sit down, well, I guess via phone. I sat down with, Dr. Diane, and we did address the needed as well.
So what's the chain of command regarding that? Regarding complaints?
Yeah, any should go to Lindsay because she's the commissioner of personnel.
What I don't like is 2 council members have papers that the rest of us haven't seen, you're bringing it up at a council meeting.
These are complaint forms that went to the office, so technically they should have been in the packet.
They have them.
I don't have them.
Yeah, mine.
I don't have them either.
Diane, do you have them? Do you have them, Diane?
Did you pass them out in the packet?
They're in everybody's file.
But did you pass them out in the agenda?
No,
packet?
I didn't.
It wasn't on the agenda. I just want to know what the process is. That's all I want to know. And that the forms are available whenever they're requested.
The forms are available. When I asked around, I was told, what? What complaint forms? We've never handled complaint forms like this for personnel. So I don't know. I asked Lewis, because I didn't know if there even was such a thing. He hands me the complaint form, and I think that's more of a police thing. It's a police, so that's really what was used. There really has never been the way I understand.
Why is it a police thing? It's just a complaint. It's not a breaking of the law.
Saying that I used that form that Lewis handed me, that was one of his forms, so that's.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry, I misunderstood.
It used to be out in the entryway in that little wider thing.
I have no idea.
What is there to complain about, I guess would be my question. What are the taxpayers of the community complaining about? Because as city council members, do we not need to be aware of those complaints?
1000%, that's why I'm bringing it up. I just thought they'd be in the packet.
Well, I didn't know how they worked. You know, we came into this office, all of us, with absolutely zero training. Everybody's got to keep in mind that we're trying to do the best job we can do here. And when something like this comes along, and I hear
I agree with you, Diane.
Diane, you're fine, this is not on the agenda again.
No, it isn't, Diane. I don't believe that you've done wrong here.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think that maybe some of that was wrong. I'm owning up to mine. I'm totally owning up to it. What it was, Mr. Badke called me and wanted the complaint form. And I said, is there one? Well, you should know that I got that sarcastic that I always get from him. And I said, I can try to find out. No one's ever asked for one before, is what I told him. So I got off the phone. That's what I talked to Lewis. He said, well, we got these complaint forms. But I turned to Anita. I said, Anita, Chuck's calling about a complaint form. And right, they were smack dab in the middle of that transfer of that land. And he had been riding her like you cannot believe. He wanted everything done. He'd come in and just pounding on her to get stuff done. Just ridiculous. And I knew that's what the complaint was about. So I went to Anita right away. She gets on the phone with him. They start talking and she gets him what he needs. And I assumed, which I should not have, that we're good. He doesn't need the form. So I didn't say, I should have. So I own it. I'm fine.
Can I address my officer's complaint?
Yeah, they
Because
want
we
to
do have a
go
department
for-
policy regarding complaints in the police department.
Yeah.
When we get a complaint in the police department, there's an investigation done. And then pending the results of that investigation, there's action taken or not taken. And then the complainant is typically notified. Sergeant Kircher was actually written up for his conduct at the city council meeting. 2 days after the city council meeting, the complaint from Mr. Badke came 2 or 3 weeks after.
It was
city
when the
council
other
meeting,
four, the other
when the other 4 came. So Sergeant Kircher was already reprimanded, and my police commissioner was fully aware of that had taken place. I can speak to that one. That one's been addressed. There's a letter in his file, if anyone would like to see it. It's been in his file since April, whatever.
Was Mr. Batke informed of all of that?
I'm not sure if he was or not.
Okay, well, he was the person that was insulted by Connor, or whatever word you want to use.
Right.
So why, I think we could have probably solved a lot of things there if somebody would have just let Chuck know what happened. Because as far as Chuck knows, nothing happened.
There was not a complaint filed at the time that I reprimanded Sergeant Kircher. That's why Mr. Badke was not notified of anything.
I gotcha.
I agree with Louis. There's no reason to reach out to Chuck and tell him that you reprimanded him, because you reprimanded him before he filed the complaint. His complaint is a moot point. His complaint is to
Now we have the complaint, so what are we gonna do?
Nothing.
What's the policy?
If someone would like, I can make contact with Mr. Badke and let him know what's addressed.
No, it's not nothing, Travis. Something has to be done. We either have to have a policy, we have to have a committee, we have to have a meeting. Somebody has to do something. If somebody complains about something, we can't just do nothing about it.
Well, Twyla, I did reach out and talk to the attorney to figure out what we're supposed to do, because I've never dealt with it. And it's never been an issue since I've been on council. So I did reach out to the attorney, talk to the attorney, forwarded the stuff onto Mike because he's a police commissioner. Each of the employees got a letter in their file with the letterhead. Diane admitted that she did wrong on hers, so we talked about it. She signed it, I signed it. Nita also got a complaint. Diane also went over that with Anita. She signed it and I also signed it, and those are all on letterhead. The letterhead is then attached to the complaint form to tell how each of them have been addressed. And that was also done with the police department, to my knowledge. And I addressed that on the day that they got the complaints.
So everybody that, I understand that everybody that the complaints are written by this one, by Mr. Batke, I understand on your side, all that's being handled or all that has been handled. But should there not be any follow-up with him so that he knows you're dealing with the issue? You don't have to say what you did, but should you let him know? I mean, it's just up for grabs.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, that you should keep in touch with them. Because if you don't, it's going to just keep festering.
Well, it's difficult to call him because you know that you're going to get the sarcastic tone of voice, and he's going to say mean things to you, and nobody sticks up for us on that, except for this ordinance that's getting passed tonight.
any one of us will be more than happy to follow up with him on his complaints. I would not, and I know that Lindsay would not ask you to do that. That is way too much to ask of you, because we know that he intends to make you uncomfortable, and that is his intention.
He's been doing this to the
He's
people
been
who
bullying
work
the
at
city hall for as many years as I've been alive.
years, and when is it going to be stopped?
And I guess, I don't know, I did talk to the attorney as well about putting it in there if we needed to include city council packs, and he said that he didn't feel it needed to be put in there. So I did what I was told, I followed the instructions, I followed the letterhead, visited with each of the employees except for Mike did the 2 officers.
Any further discussion?
No, I think that we can't. I think it's a city council to move the community forward and not stay in the holding pattern that we have been in, or fall into bad behaviors that we've had in the past. We need to do exactly what we did in this scenario, in that we not add fuel to the fire. He was unhappy. We acknowledged his unhappiness. We followed the appropriate measures. In the future, I think that maybe just a phone call to let him know that it's been handled and documented. I don't know that we could have done anything differently. Regardless of what we do, I feel that he'll continue.
No, I think it was all handled, the chief handled his end and everybody else handled theirs. It's just a matter of letting him know that we appreciate the input and it's been necessary.
I think he was just frustrated out of not getting the information that he wanted.
He didn't ask for one.
By accusing me of possibly breaking up a marriage?
Well, if you want to know the mean things that you've said to Anita.
Yeah, we need to stop it.
I'm not discussing it anymore.
The community should know the things that he says to people in here. Jenny,
I make a motion to
you were on the butt end of it.
I'll second that.
That Lindsay took care of it, that's fantastic. There was just no follow-up. I make a motion.
Second.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Good meeting, everyone.